Hey boos, in this video I give commentary based on my opinion. Nothing is to be taken as factual. We are just here to have conversation. We don't expose and we don't sip tea on this channel. I'm giving you real talk straight, no chaser. Let's see if you can handle it.
Cause I'm a boss. Oh, hell no.
Hi guys, it's Yanni and I'm back with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about Gucci Mane, Keyshia, and Snoop Dogg. We're going to be discussing the viral post that Snoop Dogg made, and it was posted to the Shade Room. I saw the Shade Room comments, and as soon as I saw that, I went completely off. I didn't hold nothing back, and I know I'm supposed to be this feminine woman, but I can't stand it when black men particularly pull this type of stuff and try to force this message like this is what women have to do in order to get a man. So I called it out as soon as I saw it. I said, oh hell no. I said, oh hell no. Like, I know they're not trying to force this thug love story, because that's exactly what it is. Like, that whole Gucci and Keyshia situation, it really reminded me of those little fictional books that I used to read when I was in freaking high school, and I used to think like being with a thug, dating a drug dealer or a bad boy was actually cute. And you know, the number one thing that really pissed me off about the black men, the dusty ones, like they were really condoning the nonsense. And I'm just like, whatever happened to being with a man that has his stuff together, that's not gonna just drag you through the mud? But I couldn't help but notice that majority of the men that were condoning this type of love story were the broke ones. Like, it wasn't the ones that had their ish together. The ones that had their ish together most likely were not on social media, most likely had business to conduct to where they didn't even get involved in this conversation. The number one thing that I wanted to focus on when we talk about this today is the fact that so many men are on our heads as women on what we need to do. How about what you guys need to do? I'm tired of the conversation always being about what we need to do. No, teach these men how to be men, because they literally don't know how to be men anymore. They depend on women entirely too much. And what kind of man are you to where you feel like you have to, in order for you to make it in life, you have to step on the back of a woman? You have to come off the back of another woman. You're a weak man. I'm so turned off by that, because it's like the only way you feel that you can make it is if your woman suffers. Everyone wants to talk about this whole Gucci Mane and Keyshia situation, and they want to glorify it and glamorize it and do all of that. But in reality, there were some things that I felt are being left out when it comes to the story. And there are rumors that she was out here cheating. She was out here doing other things while he was locked up. And everyone wants to glorify the story now because it ended up being a success. But she took a gamble with her life. And I don't recommend that for black women. This type of stuff right here, even though I consider myself to be pro-black and I consider myself to definitely have a pro-black channel on YouTube, when I see this type of dumbass shit and I see the black men that respond and they comment, this is why I don't push that message to only date within your race as a black woman. Because when I see the majority, when we speak on these men that are glorifying this thug love story, this ride or die story, a lot of them are dusty. A lot of them are baby daddies. A lot of them are on child support. A lot of them don't have a salary-based job. A lot of them don't have good credit. They want to use your credit in order to get a car or to finance anything that may need financing, like a house. This is exactly why when it comes to being pro-black, I don't feel that black women should sacrifice their lifetime for a black man. If a black man is not ready and available to be the man that you need him to be for you as a woman, then there's no need in you waiting and wasting your entire lifetime for that to happen. happen. Date outside of the race. This is exactly why this entire situation is why I refuse to police black women on only dating within our race. I'm not saying that a white man is a savior. I'm saying leave your options open, because the black men in this generation, the breed of men that I'm dealing with at my age, in my 20s, they're so feminine to the point where they see nothing wrong with that post that Snoop Dogg made. And it's really ridiculous. Like, it's so ridiculous. And it reminds me of how this country was built. It was built off the backs of black women. We were considered mammies when we came to this country. We took care of everything. So as women today, when you look at the black women today, the reason why we're the most dependable, the most reliable, the most resourceful in this country is because we were raised by those mammy black women, and we were being groomed to take their place. So of course we're the most educated in this country. We are the most resourceful, dependable, all of those things, independent, self-sufficient. We are the most out of any ethnicity, let's be honest. So it's crazy how we're having this conversation. But what I'm tired of seeing is black women being mammies within a relationship, when a man is supposed to be there to help you and assist you and not use you and make you go through a bunch of BS for you to feel like, okay, now I'm worthy. That shit is old, it's played out. We're over this whole struggle love bullshit. And any man that thinks that that is something that I need to go through in order to be worthy of his love or his affection, I would rather just be alone. Like, I can give myself the love that I deserve over someone that feels that I have to go through a bunch of bullshit, like struggling with them in order to be worthy of their love. That's stupid. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, there's a lot of black men that are very feminine these days, and it really shows when we speak on these type of topics and conversations. It really shows how feminine they are. Like, they really don't see anything wrong with using a woman for their own personal gain. And this is why I don't believe in the whole 50-50 thing, because this is where the lines get really blurry when you speak on these topics. The 50-50 thing for men who are broke, the average Joe, it doesn't make sense. This is a man who has money, who was rich. He gave her $2 million and she flipped it for him. You guys can't even give me $100. The men in this generation today can barely give me $50. So it's just funny how they want to praise this relationship and they don't even have 2 pennies they can rub together. So when I speak on this topic, I'm speaking on everyday people. That is not a relationship that you want to glorify, that you want to glamorize, because it's not realistic. It's not the average Joe love story. And when we speak on love today, black women particularly, we deserve to be loved without suffering. We deserve to be loved without feeling like we have to suffer first. And that's what I don't like about this entire topic of conversation. I think it's complete bullshit. And I think people are really trying to push this struggle love onto black women. When we go through struggle love, we're not getting a check for that shit. Like, Keyshia got a big check, okay? Look how she's living. So a lot of y'all can't give us that. So stop with the bullshit, stop with the nonsense. It doesn't make any sense. Any woman of substance is not gonna go for anything like that. And you know, another thing that I wanted to point out with that post, Snoop Dogg, whenever he refers to black women, why is it that men in the industry, whenever they refer to black women, they have to call us a bitch? I don't understand that. I read and reread what Snoop Dogg said, and I'm just like, you know, he's speaking to black women, right? Because Keyshia's a black woman, right? Why is it that whenever they make these type of statements and they push these type of messages to black women, they refer to us as bitches? I'm not a bitch. That message certainly did not apply to me. And you know, it was weird. It was a weird flex to see black women reposting that like it was something. He wasn't talking to me. So I am only making this video because I'm calling the bullshit out, okay? I'm just reading that, like, who is doing all of that for nothing? I have to speak on the majority of men, black men today. Y'all don't have much to offer these days. Y'all really don't have that much to offer. Y'all don't. Y'all don't. I hate to say it, like, and I'm going to be making a video about my experience with dating black men because this needs to be talked about. And I know all men, I know all black men are not like that. And that's why I follow pages like Strong Black Fathers on Instagram. I follow pages like The Black Man Can on Instagram. And I try to repost a lot of their content on my Instagram story, because at the end of the day, I'm going to call out the bullshit when it comes to black men, but I understand that not all black men are like that. It's important, like us black women, like when it comes to dating, we go through a lot of bullshit. A lot of bullshit. A lot. I've been stranded before by a black man. I've been called a bitch by a black man. I have been sexually harassed by a black man. I've been sexually assaulted by a black man. I've been physically abused by a black man. I've been verbally abused by a black man. And it's like, at what point do I deserve love? Because I know I'm not a bad person. And I'm like literally in therapy right now for the bullshit that Snoop Dogg was posting, making it seem like that's what a black woman has to go through in order to get a man. I want to talk about it, but I don't want to make it seem like the perception of black men are all like that, because I know that they're not all like that. I've had great experiences, but I hate to say it. I hate to say it. I've had way worse experiences when it comes to black men than good ones. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is the fact that when I made my post ended up going viral on Instagram, which I was like, what the hell? I didn't like how people try to weaponize the term, but you're single, and black men responding to what I had to say, but you're single, as if that meant something. Because when I look around today, I see a lot of women that are in non-committed relationships. The only thing that really separates me from them are children. Like, let's be honest, it's not commitment, it's children. It's not commitment. It's not. When you try to weaponize terms like, but you're single, I don't understand, like, I don't get it. Like, where are you trying to get at? Because when I look around today, I don't see a lot of women in relationships either. So I don't see a lot of women in committed, healthy, flourishing relationships. I don't see a lot of women getting married either. It's like trying to manipulate me into thinking that that's something that I have to go through in order to be with someone. And I don't believe that. If me being alone means that I don't have to deal with that, then I'm going to do that. I'm also kid free. I've never had an abortion. So it's not that I'm just single. I'm kid free and I've never had to get an abortion, by the grace of God, because God keeps sparing me with these experiences with men, with black men particularly. Thank God I am able to say that I am not only single, but I'm kid free and abortion free. So it's more to it than just, oh, but you're single. What's your point? I don't have any sexually transmitted diseases. I've never had to deal with any of that. I own my own business. I started my business when I was 21 years old, and I've been hustling and grinding ever since. So for men to say that, it's like, why am I single? That's the question. Because I'm not bitter. I'm not about to allow black men to make me bitter. I refuse for a black man. I refuse to allow any type of man to steal my joy. I'm not angry. I'm healing. I'm going to therapy, and I'm happy. I'm truly happy. I'm doing what I love. I don't have to clock into a 9-to-5 job. I'm getting health insurance this year, and I'm trying to work on becoming more financially free by creating financial freedom for myself. So when men say, but you're single, it says a lot about the men today, because there's literally nothing wrong with me. So it's funny how men say things like that. And to be honest, the number one reason that I think I'm single is because a lot of the men that I bump into, they know I'm not gonna go for the okie doke. I'm not gonna go for just some okie doke situation. And the reason for that, when men complain about things like, oh, well, no one helped me. No one helps me. Oh, but I have to do this and I have to do that. Guess what? I have to do it all too. When they cry and they bitch and they complain, and then you got black women out here that are doing it, and they've been doing it, and then they're doing it with more responsibilities on top of them, like kids in school. These men are being lazy. Like, a lot of them are not even in school trying to achieve something better than their situation that they're currently in. So when I have these conversations with men and they want to argue about this, and this, I'm like, I have business taxes that I have to pay every year. I don't get anything back. Nothing. When I was trying to finish school, I had no one to help me finish school financially, not even government assistance, because my parents made too much and I didn't have a child. When I hear black men complain, well, it's hard for me too. So it's like, we can compare oranges to apples all day, but it's not going to get us anywhere. I have very little patience for black men as far as them complaining about why it's so hard and then they don't do anything about it. Yes, it's hard, but every day I hustle. I hustle because that's all I can do to try to make my situation better. But a lot of these men don't want to do that. They want to be lazy and they want to take and use a woman and use her until she's basically sucked dry and they leave her with nothing. So I'm not one of those women. I'm not allowing a man to suck me dry, all for another woman to come along and reap all the benefits. I'm not doing that. So I choose to remain single because the men that have been coming my way, they just don't have it together. And that's fine. I'm not judging your situation because at one point I didn't have it together. But you don't see too many men trying to get it together. And that's the point that I wanted to make. It's all about the actions. It's not about the words. It's about what I see. And I don't see a lot of men really taking the time to get their shit together. And I don't understand when men bump into me, they meet me, and they understand that I'm not going to go for the okie doke. Them getting their shit together makes them a better man. Puts them in a better position as a man to be able to do the things that they want to do, to be able to have good credit, to have financial freedom, to be able to maybe start a business, but they don't want to do that. Why? I'm not about to be one of those women that are coaching men, spoon feeding men to be men. I'm not doing that. So this entire conversation needs to be had. Stop trying to force struggle love on women of color. Stop trying to do that. Stop trying to force that whole narrative, because it's not just black women, like it's just women of color because of the history that we've gone through. It doesn't even matter if you're Hispanic, black, Asian, most likely your parents went through some form of struggle, and so now they're trying to make it seem like, well, that's the story for everybody. If our parents sacrificed so much that they had to go through struggle love at one point, I shouldn't have to go through struggle love. They made a way for me not to be able to have to go through that. So when I see this message being forced on women of color, it's like our parents sacrificed enough to where we shouldn't have to experience that. It wasn't until this year as a black woman that I knew what my worth was. And I know it sounds crazy, but I knew what my worth was when I was single, but it wasn't until I started dating more seriously to where I knew what my worth was as a woman with a man. Like when I compare myself to a man and what a man should be and where I stand with a man, I don't want to say I learned more about my worth, but I was able to define what my worth was as a woman. So when I look at the men today and they see how they have to meet me and not try to degrade me or try to push me down to their level, I learned more about my worth and how it's more defined through men and through love. So with that being said, I'm just not gonna settle at this point. Like, I don't see the point, and I would rather have my peace and my sanity than to be in a situation where I don't want to go home. I've been in situations where I don't want to go home, and because I'm avoiding the person that I'm living with. A lot of women do that. They will sit in their cars not wanting to go home, or they'll work extra late at night not wanting to go home, or they'll just try to find ways not to be at home because I don't want to say they hate the person that they're living with or in a relationship with or married to, but they don't like their situation. So by all means, they're trying to avoid going home, and I don't want to find myself in a situation like that, all because someone said, but you're single. I like my sanity. I like my peace. I know what my worth is, and I know that the right man will see that, you know, and I'm not just gonna settle for the okie doke, because I could easily settle for the okie doke, you guys. I have men coming at me left, right, all day, not just on Instagram, like in real life. I keep bumping into men who don't want a committed relationship, but then I also find that I don't know if it's because they don't want a committed relationship so they don't have their ish together, or they don't want a committed relationship and they don't have their ish together. But either way, I don't see a relationship with them because A, they don't want commitment, and B, they don't have their shit together anyway. So it's like, what would I be committing to? They don't want commitment, they don't have their ish together, but they're not trying to get their ish together while they're not trying to be committed. It's different. Like, when you're not trying to be committed, when you want to focus on yourself and better your situation for yourself, not because you have to, not because you're in a relationship with a woman, but just because you want to for yourself, for the self-betterment of yourself, when you want to do that, because that's what I'm doing. So I expect that in return, when I meet men and date them, I'm like, at least they're trying to better themselves somehow, some way. But a lot of these men are not doing that anymore. Like, they're like super lazy. That's all that I have regarding this video. I would love your opinion on this topic. I really wanted to focus more so on how people try to weaponize the term but you're single, and also how the narrative is always what women need to do and what we need to endure, and it's never about what these men need to do and how these men need to step up and how men need to be men and how men need to be teaching these younger men how to be men. Men are not teaching the younger men how to be men, and so now I'm out here dealing with a lot of feminine men who like to ask me for money, and this is why I don't entertain broke men, because broke men like to ask me for money. It didn't used to be like that. So this new breed, they want a woman that they're not committed to, want no commitment with, but they want financial access to her. And I just think that's crazy. So it used to be that black men were broke, but they were working to get it, and they were also wanting to be committed to that woman. Nowadays, it's like, oh, I don't want to be committed to you, but can I borrow $50? And it's like, what the hell? So this is why I don't deal with broke men. It has nothing to do with me trying to go after what he got. I got my own shit, and I'm trying to protect my own shit by saying I don't date or deal with broke men. It has nothing to do with me trying to go after what he got. I'm too focused on what I'm trying to do. I'm too focused on my purpose. I'm too focused on trying to create something for myself, to where chasing what he got does nothing for me. That's all that I have regarding this video. Comment down below. I would love your opinion on this topic. And if you haven't, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so that you're notified when I upload, and I'll catch you in my next one.